You are the dancing queen, young and sweet, only 17. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Su-ba-ba, true-ba-ba. Su-ba-ba, true-ba-ba. Hit me with it, dancing queen. Feel the beat from the tambourine. Oh. Take a chance, 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 take a chance. Waterloo, I was defeated, you won the war. Woo! Waterloo, knowing my fate is to be with you. Su-ba-ba, true-ba-ba. Whoa, 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 Waterloo. Finally facing my Waterloo. And for the grand finale, Su-ba-ba, true-ba-ba. Finally facing my Waterloo. Whew. Mamma mia, what an intro. See what I did there? Here it is. Need I say more? Mamma mia. If you're struggling to read it, Mamma mia. What else do I say? Let's get to the episode. Just kidding. All right, so let's talk a little bit. What you just watched, will you ever forget it? No. Will you wish you did? Yes. Mamma Mia is a huge mega sensation hit of a musical. If you don't know it, you do. And it's on Broadway again right now in its grand revival, doing so well on Broadway. And we are lucky enough to have someone who's in Mamma Mia with us today on the show. And his name is Patrick Dunn. I figured what better way to give you an introduction than his bio right here. So, Patrick Dunn, Les Miserables. He was Jean Valjean on the national tour of Les Mis. Phantom, understudy Phantom. Waitress, these are all national tours, okay? Hart School graduate, thank you to every Dunn and Gibson and Hudson artists. Love to Emma for Penelope and Anna. And you can get him at patrichdunn.com. You can follow him at the Patty D Wagon on Instagram. Patrick Dunn joins us on the show today. What he doesn't write in his bio is that he is the ultimate Elvis Tribute Artist of 2021. And you may not know what that is, because I didn't before we did research on this episode, but now I do, and boy am I lucky that I do, because it is so cool. He traveled the world doing a tribute artist performance to the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. He got to win the competition from all of these Elvi across the world. And because of that, he went to Graceland and competed to be the best Elvis. I mean, how cool is that? He talks to us all about that. His wide career, Les Mis and Waitress and Phantom. He also did The Music Man with Shirley Jones and Patrick Cassidy at a regional house. I mean, it was so cool to get the chance to bring up these like little niche things that he had no idea where I was going to pull from, and then I just would. He's a beautiful vocalist, and he booked this Mamma Mia tour, and he's now in the ensemble Mamma Mia, making his Broadway debut along with 24 other members of this incredible cast, because we got to see the show, and it was such a joy. I mean, who doesn't love Mamma Mia? And what you just watched was me do my harmony lines from when I did Mamma Mia twice in 6 months, because Mamma Mia is a cult sensation. I shouldn't even say a cult sensation. It's just a sensation. Everybody loves Mamma Mia. It's just a joy, okay? So the thing about it is you can't help but, tap your little toes to the music. You're getting up. When I went to see it, me and Angel went to go see it, and it was just like a packed house at the Winter Garden, which means a lot. They're selling out the Winter Garden every night, selling incredible numbers on Broadway, and everyone is having a blast. People are coming out from the woodwork to see this show. It made me wonder, why did Mamma Mia ever leave Broadway? Because it's such a mega hit. And Patrick is fantastic in the show. He is such a blast to watch. And he's just such a talented vocalist and actor. And he won't admit it, but even a dancer. He does some dances in Money, Money, Money. I saw you, Patrick. But yeah, we were so lucky to have him on, and he was just a blast to hang out with. I think you'll get such a kick out of this episode. Patrick is a joy, and I think you'll even take away a thing or two. Okay, I think he provides some really clever insight. What more can I say? Go see Mamma Mia. You know you want to. Today, I want to be like Patrick Dunn. I want to be like you. 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 Welcome to another episode of I Want to Be Like You with Elbi Cespedes. Today, I want to be like Patrick Dunn.
I don't know if you want to, but we'll find out, I guess.
So, I'm so thrilled to have you here because we did. Thank you so much for doing this. And I've been doing all this research on you, and I was like,
scary.
Yeah, no, not at all. It was just like you are in every avenue, not just theater. So I want to talk about everything.
Okay.
So we start with the same question every time, and it is, who was your I Want to Be Like You when you were a kid?
I knew that one was coming after having watched
did you? Okay, cool. Thanks for watching.
The earliest person I can remember who I wanted to be like was probably my dad.
Yeah.
He was just the guy. He was dad. He was a cop and a firefighter.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. And then slowly but surely, when I started the theater business as a young kid, then it became, and very generally, like whoever was on stage.
Right.
That was like, I would start to see shows. I was actively auditioning and had an agent and such. And
right.
going, that's who I want to be. I don't remember anybody really specific in those terms, like an actor or a performance that blew my mind as a 13, 14, 15-year-old. But I just remember being like, oh yeah, I gotta be up there.
Right,
that's
right.
it. So that's who I wanted to be like. I think.
For sure. Well, you're from Port Jervis, New York.
Yeah, little town upstate.
Where is that?
Just a 90 minutes drive.
Oh,
north
really?
Of the city, up Orange County.
It's like we're from the city. We're from Brooklyn and Staten Island, and so it's like anything that's not the city or Long Island, we're like it's upstate.
Sure. You know anything above 125th Street is upstate.
It's
when
upstate.
You're down here.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you're in the village or something.
Yeah.
It was a little tiny town, like 10,000 people. Everybody knew everybody. Like my dad grew up there, and my mother was local, and so it was. I guess the Dunn name had a little bit of a moniker to it, so it was nice.
Sure.
But the support and the love from that community throughout my career has always been really,
awesome.
really cool, and nice that it's close, so I can.
Right. So did you come to New York City often?
Yeah. I did. Up until I was 12 when I made my professional debut. Like the one trip we would take into New York was to see the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Oh, cool.
That was like the big trip in. But then as I started to work, we were here all the time. In fact, so often that I had to hire my own driver because my parents were like, we can't keep bringing you to New York for this stuff. Right. And I was making okay money.
What was your first Broadway show that you saw? Do you remember?
First Broadway show that I saw was Peter Pan.
Oh, cool.
Peter Pan with Sandy Duncan. And I cried because the only thing I really remember is during the pirate ship fight at the end, a pirate slid on his stomach right to the foot of the stage, and I was in the front row, and I was like, and then my second was Cats.
Oh wow! You just chose all the scary.
They came out with the green eyes at the top of the show during the overture. Cried again. Cried again.
How old were you?
I don't know, 2.5.
Yeah, like 20.
8 or 9, I guess. Yeah. But I cried during
last year. Yeah, it was last year.
Cried during a lot of Broadway shows.
That's funny. So you were a child actor, right?
Yeah, I was a little Broadway baby, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
So at 12 years old, we talked about it a little bit before. You were young Scrooge in Christmas Carol at MSG. And you said Nick Jonas was in it too.
He was my dressing roommate. Hey, Nick. It was a crazy ride because in Little Port Jervis I did community theater and the church plays and the little theater troupe was there and it was great.
Right.
And we had a little core of kids and supportive parents who bring you to this or that rehearsal or carpool and such. And they were all coming to New York for the open call. So A Christmas Carol ran for 10 years at the Garden.
Wow.
It was produced by Radio City.
Wow.
And every year, like part of their press would be, just a big cattle call audition. It was nothing fancy, but the news outlets would be there and that. So the parents, I think her name was Sandy Stalter, if I recall. She said, hey, we're going to bring the kids down. And I was in 7th, 8th grade, and I wanted to miss a social studies test.
Perfect. What better way?
And that's before I was coming into the city really often. So I said,
Right.
yeah, we'll go to New York. Let's go.
Yeah.
No pianist. Susan Stroman, Ray Roderick sitting behind the table, and you just had to sing A Christmas Carol.
Wow.
Okay, it's not like I had a rep book or anything.
Yeah.
I sang Silent Night. Great, thanks. As we're leaving, we heard, is Patrick Dunn still here? Is Patrick Dunn still here? I went back in, again, no pianist. Can you sing something else? I don't know. And I had done, my biggest role to date was Oliver at Forestburg Playhouse.
Wow,
which
cool.
is close to Port Jervis.
Yeah.
And so I sang Where's Love? And then a week later, they called my house because I didn't have an agent. I had no nothing. And
Wow.
I think I had heard at the time that out of the 10-year run, I was the only child hired out of the cattle call. And so I was a swing my first year.
No way.
Yeah, and then bumped up to principal the second year, and you do it. Basically, you can do the show until you hit puberty.
Wow. So you did it for a couple of years then?
Yeah, I was in there for a bit. It was great.
That's so cool.
It was great.
At MSG too, like.
Yeah, well, so it's this weird thing that I was like, oh, I'm on Broadway, but not really, because it's
Yeah.
MSG. It's
Well, yeah.
not Broadway, but the theater is
Like every
5,000
Broadway theater put together.
Yes, almost 6,000 seats. The production value was massive. Stroman was directing. The cast was huge. So it was an amazing learning curve.
That is
part of.
that is unbelievable. Do you remember at all, like as a kid, I remember up until maybe I was like 16 or something, feeling really nervous.
Yeah.
Like really nervous. Even no matter how much I prepared, no matter I can't even, and I'm doing shows in a high school auditorium. Not even, I shouldn't even say, it was gyms. We were doing shows in gyms.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean? But you're doing a show at MSG. Like, I don't get that nervous anymore as much just because you become accustomed to the idea of being in front of an audience. But I think at MSG, I would still be like, terrified. Right now.
I don't remember being terrified.
Yeah.
I remember, being nervous and apprehensive, but I was surrounded by the kids in that show.
Yeah.
Not even speaking on the adults, but the kids were all seasoned professionals.
Right.
So, kind of a through line of my career is like just trying to keep up with the big boys.
Right.
And girls. And that's what I was doing then. Like I said, Nick Jonas and, cats like Andrew Keenan Bolger and Gerard Canonico, like all these, Kennedy Kanagawa. I'm just sitting with them. I covered them the first year and stuff. So it was like, I just tried to follow their lead. And
How many shows were you guys doing a week?
Man. So it was produced by Radio City. So it was
Right.
a Radio City schedule, seasonal. I remember Saturdays we did an 11, 2, 5, and 8 o'clock. 90 minutes.
That's
right,
the Rockette.
straight
That's like
through.
the Rockettes. Like they have
It was,
they swap them out
and
they do like 4 shows
and we
a
had
day.
two kids casts.
Okay.
Because of child labor laws.
Yes.
Because we had so many shows.
Oh,
but
man,
I
those darn child labor
remember the adults, man, and the physical therapy sessions they were having and all that
Oh,
stuff
my
that I didn't
gosh.
understand then. And now
Yeah.
I'm going, oh, you were hurting puppies.
Yeah.
But
Because you didn't have 2 adult casts.
no,
Right.
no, they were all there doing that.
4
I think
shows a day.
I think it was like 16 a week or something like that. And they were working hard. And to be like perfectly frank, we were all paid very well.
Sure.
It was the 90s, and it was like that's when equity had overtime and those sorts
Right.
of things. And
Right.
those guys, those adults, some of them did it the 10-year run.
Right.
They were in the original cast.
So
and then-
is that how you got your equity card
Yeah.
as a kid?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Signed in and was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's
okay.
so cool. From that, did you wind up getting an agent or?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Through word of mouth and some of the other kids, I ended up with Nancy Carson.
Cool.
Carson Adler.
Oh.
And she
Yeah.
was amazing and had her roster had Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears when they were on the Mickey Mouse Club and these sorts of things.
Gosh.
So talk about a fish out of water. I was not her top earning client,
Yeah.
but she gave me a lot of time over the years
Yeah.
and a lot of support.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and again, like that was when I was getting faxes. It was they would fax you the sides.
Right,
I'm
right.
very old.
No, not at all. Not at all. But so did you find yourself as a kid like getting a lot more work after getting that agent?
I did get some good work.
Yeah.
Basically until you hit puberty.
Right.
And then you become kind of non-essential. And it was good. I was 17, probably almost 18, but I read like I was 12, 13.
Oh.
I looked young.
Oh, because I was going to say you're pretty tall, and usually that works against you as a kid.
I wasn't tall as a kid. I probably grew like, actually it's probably on the height chart in my parents' home. It was like over a foot and change in like a 10-month span.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So up until that, I was, and some good stuff. Stroman was a really good contact for me back then. And,
Yeah, sure.
asked me to do Music Man when she did it the first time. And I was like, I don't dance. Don't ask me. So we didn't do that, but
that's funny.
Did a lot of cool workshops and some, pilots for Nickelodeon and those sorts of things.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I remember like working as a kid, I had this like manager and whatnot, and you would like, it was the same thing. Like once I got to like 14, I hit a growth spurt, and that's
See you later,
Yeah,
alligator.
like it's kind of hard to book any work, and I was doing self tapes, so it made me like look better because if I could like position the camera where I don't look dull. But then when they ask for that full body slate, you're screwed, man.
Good.
So yeah,
good. It was good. And then the the other side of the coin was that I had my equity card as a kid. So then even when I was going through college and high school, I couldn't find work. I couldn't buy work because why would they hire me and have to pay benefits and this, that, and the other thing when they can hire you just as talented and half the price?
Right. Yeah, it's true.
So it came with its.
It's true. I want to talk to you a little bit about your college experience. On this show, we tend to go through the nitty gritty, and that's why I'm asking like these like agent question, your equity card question. But you got a BFA from the University of Hartford, right?
I did, yeah.
And what was your audition experience like auditioning for colleges? Did you know that theater was what you wanted to do?
I did. It was between music education and musical theater. And the rub was my parents insisted I go to school. Like that was it. You're going, you can choose what you're going for.
Right.
We'll help you as much as we can financially. We're not from a wealthy family by any stretch, but they made do. And I remember thinking, and I like to teach. I teach now, but at the time going, oh man, if I'm teaching at 8:00 p.m. every night, I'm gonna go, what curtain would I maybe be sitting behind right now?
Yeah.
And so it was musical theater. So we went into that. And then honestly, I think probably during the audition process for schools, I auditioned at Syracuse, SUNY Fredonia, Hart, and Boston Conservatory. I think I was probably, reflecting on it, a bit of a smart ass.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I probably thought I was, Frank Langella, who was a Scrooge of mine in A Christmas Carol, wrote me a letter of recommendation for Syracuse. He went to Syracuse. So it's like I walked into the room like I'm a big deal. And
that's a pretty...
I'm not, though.
Well, but hey, that's a pretty big recommendation.
I managed to get into all of the schools, and then I ended up with Hart very happily. But basically at the time, they gave me the biggest scholarship.
Oh,
that was it.
Amazing.
The proximity to New York also helped, right?
Of course.
2-hour train or bus.
Of course.
Nancy Carson was still working for me a little bit, knowing I was in school, but loved the college experience. Didn't love paying the loans for the next amount of years.
Yeah, right.
But,
of course.
Hart was really great at the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and so then after college, what was your first step? What was the first thing you decided that you wanted to do? To pursue, because it's a different path for everyone. There were people when I exited college, it's like, I'm not sure that I'm ready to go audition. I think I'm going to take a break. I think I'm going to, whatever. So
yeah,
it just like that's the biggest thing. I mean, I'm kind of spewing cliches, I guess, but like that's the biggest
the
thing.
Whole business is a cliche.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is like it really is different strokes for different folks. It's so individual.
Yeah, I always, and I still do. I always just wanted to work. That was it.
Yeah.
I didn't have
Me too.
specific. I didn't have specific goals at the time. I don't think I was smart enough or probably ambitious enough. I just knew that I wanted to work. Like I wanted to be happy. I wanted to make some scratch. And then I ended up my like first big gig out of college was Disney Cruise Line, which was awesome.
Incredible.
I mean,
incredible.
Love ships. Tell people all the time ships. Not now. I'm too old for ships.
Sure.
But yeah, Prince Charming, Disney Cruise Line for 8 months.
Okay, so you're. I think you're our first guest who's been on DCL. My girlfriend just got off Disney Cruise a year ago next week.
Okay.
And I have very close friends. I think at this point I probably have at least one friend on every ship. I'm a big Disney Cruise Line man. I went on 3 last year. I'm like, but because you have all these friends, if I have all these friends working on Disney Cruise, I'm going to go on.
It's called signing you on.
Exactly.
Right? And if there's space available in a cabin.
And I get to go to Alaska?
Let's go.
Like, why would I not? So I want to ask you a little bit about that. And also Disney Cruise Line has a very strong fan base. So what ship were you on?
That was back in the day. It was kind of an exclusive gig. Two. It was the Disney Magic and the Disney Wonder,
right.
And they were small, and so the talent was really great. It still is. No offense.
Yeah.
It was a really cool gig to have. Paid well. I think I made every week. It was like $9.90 a week.
Nice.
That's big money for a 22-year-old, right, with no expenses.
Yeah.
And I loved it. In
fact, I think it's only gone up like $10.
Well, fun story, side note, was at the time, Nancy Carson, still my agent, master negotiator, she goes, hey, can we get, this pay? Can we get, I did get a single cabin. Can we get certain privileges? Disney said no to all of those.
Right.
Which made sense at the time. And once they expanded their fleet, which they have exponentially now, they've become more lenient on a lot of those negotiations. In fact, I went back 2 years ago.
Oh, did you? As a BGA?
As a BGA, the Broadway
guest artist.
Which was like, I pat myself on the back. No one gives me credit, but I'll take the credit. That part of that contract is structured because of myself and a few other people.
Is that right?
Who were making these big asks. And then once they expanded the fleet and they realized, hey, we need older people, this, that, we have a bigger casts. We might have to give a little bit more.
Yeah, well, Broadway guest artists are essentially getting Broadway rate, but then
Broadway rate, 3-stripe officers, so you get a nice cabin. You can go to the officers' mess
and you
hall.
could sign on people left and right.
My wife and my 3-year-old lived on the ship.
Oh, that's
just lived
awesome.
on the ship.
That is
I said,
awesome.
all right, how long do you want to stay?
A 3-year-old too. That's so great.
Yeah, I said, Cinderella, can you go read Penny a bedtime story?
Yeah,
yes, of course.
Like that's the best. So wait, so you were on which ship, the Magic or the Wonder at first?
The Magic. Disney
the Magic.
Yep.
Okay, cool. That's. I went on there when I was 10.
Yeah, she's an old broad, that shit.
Yeah, she's the first.
She was.
And so what shows were you in?
Twice Charmed as Prince Charming. We did the original iteration of Golden Mickey's.
Oh, wow.
Disney Dreams.
Wow.
And then like a Welcome Aboard show. It was great.
The classics.
Yeah,
the classics.
Great.
Well, now they've cut the Welcome Aboard show. They don't do those anymore.
Well, probably because I'm not in them.
Yeah,
so
right.
We can't keep it up anymore.
Yeah, why would we do it again? Yeah. But then I was going to ask you, so how many contracts did you do at Disney Cruise Line?
3 technically. I did one full one, and then they asked me to come back for a second, and I said,
replacement?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I said, call me if you need me, which they did 2 other times, and I went back for little short stints.
Oh, nice. That's better.
Yeah.
Well, because the contracts are so long. They're 9 months.
2 months rehearsal, 8 months at sea.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, the longest you can go. Like, the Coast Guard will let you be at sea unless you're, like, in the Navy.
Okay, gotcha.
So they didn't want to turn the cast over.
Right,
it cost money.
Right.
So,
yeah, of course, yeah. Right. And you guys were rehearsing in Toronto. That's all the same.
Rehearsing in Toronto.
Yeah.
Where I live now.
Oh, really?
We'll get there.
Oh, cool. Good for you. That's awesome. And then the other thing I was going to ask you is when you went back 2 years ago, what track were you on? What ship were you on?
I was on the new ship, the Disney Wish.
Oh, cool.
And
I haven't been on that one yet.
King Triton in the Little Mermaid.
Oh, good for you. That's cool. Is it true that now they do, I think, 2 Broadway guest artists?
Yes. Yeah. They do one male and female identifying. And so she was Ursula in the show, and I was Triton, and it was...
Right. On the newer ships, because the Treasure, I think, has... someone in Moana, and then someone I forget.
Yeah.
But something. Yeah.
But hey, we love that Mickey Mouse, man.
Hey,
paid the bills for a while.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And that's awesome. You got to bring your kid on there too. That's great. And also the other benefit about Broadway guest artist contracts is that they're shorter. You're only doing 2-3 months, right?
3 months, 90 days, which was also part of the. I remember being like 8 months is too long.
Yeah, of course.
And they were like, well, this is what we're doing, and it was a matter of if you're gonna get this older talent who needs to be available in New York City, you gotta. So they had a good rotation. They had 2 or 3 guys.
How did you help set that precedent then for BGA?
It's probably in my head, but at the time, my cast as well. I remember when it was 2009, I guess.
Sure.
We were similarly all on the same page, asking for these things: more money, shorter times, more privileges. This, that, and the other thing, which they just denied everything. Because with the 2 ships, it was still a good gig. It was kind of like exclusive.
Yeah.
Still a good gig. And,
yeah.
But then, once they expanded the fleet, it was like, okay, maybe we need to give a little bit of leeway.
For sure. Did you have to do your own presentation too?
It was in my contract, but I didn't.
Okay.
I would have loved to, but we had a short itinerary. We were doing 3-4 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say maybe the female identifying BJ, she handled it all. You gave it all to her.
No. She's better than me, so I would have been my kid. Crystal.
That's awesome though. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then talk to me about coming off the cruise. That's something that I know a lot of friends of mine have found to be a little bit of a struggle because you're accustomed to making money by doing theater. That's something that doesn't tend to happen.
No.
Because a cruise line rate even now is sometimes double a rate if you're non-union working in theater. That's double the rate you'll be getting paid. What was the first thing you did when you got off the cruise? Career-wise, that is.
I was going to say probably had a cocktail, but career-wise. I got off, and that's a really good question because you get the allure of the money, the work, the travel was fun,
right?
The people are beautiful, and you can go back, right? They go, yeah, great. You want to see you in 3 months, and you can go. And I saw people get sucked into that cycle.
Yeah.
And over the years, they would go back, and then I love them and won't mention names, but I remember being like, they would come to New York and not even come close to getting a callback, let alone book a gig, because they had this ship mentality, especially Disney, that like Disney schmacting, which has its place, but not going to get you
Everything.
Yeah. So I remember being boots on the ground, like we got to find something. And I got a really good regional gig. It was my first principal regional gig down in Philly, doing Pirates of Penzance, playing
cool.
Frederick. So I got that, and that was
Where in Philly?
Bristol Riverside Theater.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll cut this out for one moment. It's funny you mentioned that. I was in for them yesterday.
No way.
And it's crazier that you mentioned that because right before you walked in, I got a call back for them.
Aha!
So that's crazy that you just mentioned that.
Use
I'm
that
like,
clip.
yeah, you know, maybe I'll use it depending on what happens by the time this episode comes out.
It was a great theater. It was a big gig for me. I think, money wise, I think it was like $600 a week, but I was, doing like proper theater. Yeah. Still is. Yeah, I wish I could say it was a prize, but yeah, and that was really good. That broke that cycle of like,
right.
Are we gonna keep on keeping on ships, which I didn't want to do.
Right. Well, that's a good way to like get you back into the mix. It's
Huge.
also a beautiful theater for what it's worth, and it's also in a really cute area.
Great spot. Easy to get to in and out of New York, right?
Right, very close to New York.
That was my dressing room mate for that gig was Nick Cordero.
No way.
Yeah, he was the Pirate King.
Oh,
Learned a lot from that guy.
Nick Cordero was Waitress. He was okay. Yeah. And Sonny and Bronx Tale. We saw him as Sonny and Bronx Tale twice.
Sure.
Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, he was awesome. Rest in peace, Nick Cordero.
Love that dude.
And who did you say you played in Pirates of Penzance?
Frederick.
Oh, wow.
The young lover. Just
Yeah, that's a vocal track too. But that's your specialty. You are a vocal man. Like you're tenor too.
I'm a park and bark man. I'm dancing too much at Mamma Mia, I tell you. But yeah, that was a byproduct of my training as a kid.
Yeah.
Being in the business was like, okay, we got to get some voice lessons. And a woman's name, bless her, Judith Ferris. She was an old like Metropolitan Opera broad.
Wow.
Who would beat the absolute snot out of me in voice lessons, and I would leave in tears sometimes. And that was when you brought a cassette tape, put it in, recorded it, listened to it every day. Worked on one song with her for almost 2 full years. One song.
What song?
Gounod's "O Divine Redeemer." So she taught me like the good classical technique.
Training.
Never really did pop stuff, and that goes till today. Now I still think of her and. Knock on wood, I'm not really the type to lose my voice or,
that's great.
Push too hard, these sorts of things. And
let me ask you this. In terms of, I have a couple of questions that in that same vein is like, in terms of practice, when it comes to vocal health, what are you, especially when you're in an earlier stage and you're learning and you're developing your technique, what are you thinking in terms of practice? What are you practicing exactly? I remember a voice teacher asking me, hey, have you been practicing? And I was like, yeah, I sing all the time in my car.
It started with breath, started with breathing.
Yeah.
Then it went into proper support, and then connecting that to the voice itself. And then kind of everything, if you do that, falls into place in theory, and I've had some good healthy vocal roles, and I'm not the type to vocal rest or I don't like to call out these sorts of things, and it's all because of that foundation.
Wow, that's pretty special, especially in terms of sustenance when you're doing 8 shows a week. Like,
and Mamma Mia is it's a fun sing. It's not too difficult for me, to be honest. It's great. It's my first time singing bass in a show.
Bass. Wow.
The very last thing they did in my final callback, David Holzenberg, our music supervisor, absolute genius, he sang me down the scale. And I was like, whatever. And he goes, that'll do, because he knows the score very well. And then I got in for a stage rehearsal, and he goes, yeah, okay, tenor, bass. And I was like, okay. Still kind of a high sing for a bass role, but it's the lowest I've ever sang on stage. So
wow.
I feel very accomplished.
That's pretty cool. So I want to ask you about this is like very specific, very niche, but I noticed it and I have to call it out. Regional theater, The Music Man. You did The Music Man with Shirley Jones and Patrick Cassidy.
I did.
Oh my gosh. Like, talk to me a little bit about that, how you got that gig, who you played.
That was my first symphonic gig. So that was huge. It was with Hartford Symphony, and I went to school at the University of Hartford.
Wow.
So it was through those connections, and we had done the show like a year earlier, and I played the tenor in the quartet, in the barbershop quartet.
Wow.
And so we were there. They had 4 professional guys, and then they brought in the 4 dudes from college, and we were just covers and singing the chorus like on stage. Shirley Jones was an absolute peach. she remember we had a good weekend of shows. Patrick Cassidy was cool, and Philip McKinley directed it, and it became just watching. I wasn't like, nobody knew my name otherwise, but it was cool to just be in that room. And then slowly but surely morphed into what was a staged concert reading into like full-blown production, like almost choreography, because Cassidy was off book. Shirley Jones obviously knew the damn show.
Yeah. Shirley Jones, for those who don't know, is the Marion from the movie.
Man, she's
Broadway
so
legend.
sweet. And Lisa Vroman played the female lead. What's her name? Marion, thank you.
Yes.
You just said it.
Yeah.
And she was great. And Shirley Jones was so fun, man. She was just full of stories.
That's
she was
awesome.
talking about it. And she actually told this great story where she was doing the kissing scene with Bob Preston. She said Bob, not Robert Preston. Crazy. And she was pregnant at the time, but was hiding it from the production. And the baby kicked, and Bob Preston felt it and was like, whoa. And she said, I'd like you to meet Patrick Cassidy. And that was she was pregnant with Patrick.
No
during
way.
the filming.
That is a
Write
great
that down,
story.
Shirley.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and she was great. We went out. I think I was maybe 21, so we ended up out with the cast having drinks,
Wow.
And I was like, I'm gonna go hit on Shirley Jones, and I sure did. And she was finished with her drink, and she was very sweet to me, and then basically handed me an empty martini glass and says, "Slowly dry up with a twist, and get one for yourself." And I went, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am," and ran away and got Shirley Jones.
That is epic.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. God bless Shirley Jones.
Wow, what a niche one. I haven't thought of that in a while.
Let me ask you about what did I have? I'm like, I have all this stuff, but I'm like, where do I want to go next?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's talk about Les Mis. Actually, you know what? Wait, we're gonna take a break from theater. I want to talk about Elvis because this is such a cool. It's such a cool little not little. It's a cool big part of your life.
It's huge.
When did you start? For those who don't know, Patrick is an Elvis tribute artist.
Yeah.
And when did you first start getting into Elvis? I mean, imagine when you were a kid.
No, not really.
Really?
I was doing, it kind of came in two parts. I was doing a production of Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Okay.
And I was playing Melvin P. Thorpe, who's like the televangelist kind of watchdog sort of thing, looking for something to base it on. And my buddy just came back from Graceland and was telling me about Elvis. So we watch an Elvis concert, and I'm going, Elvis is he's a little badass. Let's go. Yeah. Talked to the director. Said, can we do bell bottoms? Yeah. Can we bedazzle them? Yeah. Can I get rings? Yeah. Can I do scarves? The director said, no. You can have a handkerchief, maybe. And that's what we ended up with. And so then I started watching Elvis and would steal little things for that show, for Whorehouse, which was great. And then when I was in New York, serving tables, bartending, and not really working, I found these guys who were Elvis tribute artists who were very good. And it's a performance art. It's almost drag, to be honest. It's full beat, right?
Right.
Full beat. And these guys are great, and now they're my colleagues and friends. And I was like, I wonder if I could pull that off. So this was 2000. Again, I wasn't really working in theater. There was a healthy dip in there, believe me. And they have these contests where they're looking for the best Elvis, and you get judged based on moves, sound, charisma, costume. And in 2015 and 16, I qualified to go to Memphis, Tennessee at Graceland for Elvis Presley Enterprises to be trying to become the best Elvis. And again, I have no theater.
How did you qualify?
They have contests all over the world.
Oh, wow.
Associated with festivals and performances, Tokyo, Australia, England, Canada. And so I won one of those, and then you get your ticket punched to go to Memphis. So you go to Memphis, and now there's about 20 guys, the big boys. And I mean, these guys look like Elvis. Some cheek implants, chin implants, hair plugs. And my theater background, I know how to wear a lace front, and called my drag friend who taught me how to highlight and contour and these sorts of things. And I made top 5 those 2 years. So it was cool. It was really great. It was a fantastic experience, wild. Yeah. And then my theater career really picked up. Then I started touring a lot, and Waitress, Phantom, Les Mis came into play. So you got to hang up the jumpsuit. Les Mis closed for the pandemic. I'm sitting at home not doing anything, and Elvis Presley Enterprises didn't have enough of those qualifier contests that year. Okay. So I got a random email that was like, hey, anybody who made top 5 more than once, I think it was, is now eligible to just get a buy into the big dance in Memphis. Yeah. During Elvis Week. You go down the anniversary of his death, all this stuff. Wow. And I had nothing going on. Theater was still closed. I was unemployed. My unemployment, I think, was cooked. And so I didn't know if my jumpsuits would fit. You could have made like a a Rocky style montage of me training, watching Elvis movies and getting a hand on the lip going, son, and this. And I went down to Memphis, Tennessee, and I won the damn thing.
I know, that's crazy. In 2021,
they gave
you
me
were
a check.
the ultimate Elvis
the
tribute
ultimate
artist.
Elvis. They give me a check for $20,000, a gold championship belt, contracts to tour the world, and I'm still very involved with Elvis. In fact, last Saturday, I flew to the Toronto International Film Festival.
I was gonna say,
hung out with Baz.
But here's the thing: is that first of all,
it's such a weird thing to be talking about.
It's such an interesting thing because I mean, listen, we all know Elvis tribute artist, but it's not. I did not understand the legitimacy.
When you think of like an Elvis impersonator,
yes.
They actually prefer the term tribute artist.
Right.
When you think of an Elvis impersonator, you think of maybe someone who's going to be overweight, cheap Halloween costume jumpsuit.
Working maybe at a wedding or a bridal shower, you know, something like that. You don't think of like these because when I was watching you do it, you're so damn good. It's like I'm watching Elvis.
Thanks,
I mean,
buddy.
it's like
I try. Yeah.
It's remarkable actually. And I want to ask you about what did you key into? What was the thing that drew you into this that made you think that you could do it? Like what was it about him? What was the performance?
It was the vocals.
Okay.
It was the vocals, man. He's a hell of a singer.
Yeah.
Frankly. Especially when you listen to his older stuff. I'm talking Jumpsuit era, 1970s, which is what I specialize in. Mm-hmm. The man had pipes up until he died. And he was not taught, but he had quite good technique. And so I started mimicking the voice. And I kind of, the other side of that coin was discovering that I could do Elvis was just doing karaoke around New York City. And my buddy Matt, my best friend, we would go and we had our roster of songs and I would do an Elvis tune. He would go into the bathroom, break open the toilet paper roll, follow me around with the toilet paper, and I would give toilet paper scarves to all the ladies in the bar.
That's
we
awesome.
We wouldn't pay for a drink the rest of the night.
That is so funny.
And so I discovered I could sound like him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, through the magic of theater and a lot of my training, with makeup and hair and studying, I looked at him like a character, and not in an offensive sense, certainly, but a lot of the other guys come from this like massive love and being a fan of Elvis and same. But I came at it like this is a character. And
that's why I just assumed that you had this long history of his work.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
Not particularly. Like my parents weren't fans, we never had Elvis records on and all that.
I wouldn't know, are you approximately his height too?
Yeah, he was about 6 feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty unreal.
So, and now, my jewelry is made from his original molds, from his jeweler that I know, Lil Hayes. The jumpsuits are made by a company who worked with his original tailors. So we try and get his.
How did you get involved in your first competition that was outside of the,
Yeah, well, that's
especially outside of the States.
It was my first. It was Atlantic City.
Okay.
And I went down, and you basically like pay them to perform. You know what I mean? You $100 or whatever it was, and you get a song or two. And they may have a winner picked already, but I was so green it didn't matter.
It didn't matter, yeah. And you get footage from that too, I imagine, right?
Yeah, you get some clips.
You build like an
and
Elvis
these sorts
reel.
of things for sure. And that was my gig, and like when I made the top 5 in 15 and 16, I was like, that's my peak. I'm good. These guys who I know very well are incredible, and I didn't think I could really hang with them until the pandemic, and I really needed work. And was like, oh, I gotta hang with them.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna ask because the other thing that fascinates me about when you say Tokyo, Australia, the UK, like what I remember about the Elvis movie was a big part of it was what they had mentioned was that he wasn't as big in the States, and it took was worldwide is what I meant. Like he was much bigger in the States, and it wasn't like the Beatles, where the Beatles were worldwide, almost like the Beatles came here and then had to integrate here, but he was an American star who had to integrate outward, had to spread outward.
And he performed twice out of the U.S.
Right,
and it was in Canada.
So it's funny that now they're doing competitions.
All over the world.
All over the world.
I get offers and fund contracts and things in Japan, in Australia, all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too to think, you think the audience is going to be full of blue hairs, and it's not. Especially now with the movie, we have young Instagram influencers who are Elvis fans and that we get to work with, and it's crazy to see. In fact, it was so last month I flew down to. We opened the show, right, Mamma Mia, and the same week it opened was Elvis Week, which is like the North Pole at Christmas Eve, basically. And I had one day off, so I'm the king of 24-hour turnaround flights. Flew down, I did 4 or 5 events that day, a couple of concerts and interviews and these sorts of things. I'm normally there for 8 days and doing a lot. But we said it was 48 years he's been gone, and it was still he's still packing the house.
Yeah.
I do my most fun Elvis gig now I get to do is a symphonic show, and that's partly because of my operatic background and my style of singing, my vocals. And so we did Houston Symphony. 65 musicians behind me, 2 hours of Elvis top to bottom, and we had about 8,000 people in the audience.
That is
You're talking about with the worldwide stuff. You're talking about ahead of your time. My God.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like this is the most reach he's ever had because of opportunity.
Right.
Just for the sake that we have the opportunity now.
He feels, in some strange, like, perverse way, he feels bigger now through other outlets.
It's true. What I mean? And to say that, it's not an understatement to say that Elvis, saved my career. Because if it wasn't for winning that contest, if it wasn't for that email from Graceland, again, Broadway wasn't back, theater wasn't open.
Right.
I would have been very happy, I'm sure, but selling cars or something. Yeah. And then that check for $20,000 allowed myself and my family to keep my dream alive until the next gig came.
Wow. Yeah.
Thanks, Elvis.
Yeah, for sure.
Favorite song?
Whichever one you pay me the most to sing, baby. No, I'll tell you, my favorite song is the American Trilogy, because it's just this, big raucous anthem and horn sections, and it's a park and bark, as we've established. My least favorite song, Suspicious Minds. I don't mind listening to it. Good tune, his last number one hit from 1969. But you got to consider that that's going to be at the end of my Elvis show, most Elvis shows. And at that point, my 20-pound jumpsuit is soaking wet. My wig is cooked. My makeup is running. And I got to sit there and shake for 5.5 minutes. And I'm going, I just want it to be over.
My gosh. That's funny. What did you make of the new movie? What did you think of the Austin Butler movie?
I loved the movie. Yeah. Loved the movie. Was involved with Graceland while they were making it and got to go to the premiere. And,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And loved the movie. Austin crushed it, and I was sitting there with some of my colleagues, and we were all watching. I'm going, I hope he doesn't try to come into our business, because we're cooked. This guy's good.
I was gonna say, what did the business of people who are the biggest, have the most knowledge about Elvis think of this?
Well, it's a movie, so it's dramatized, right?
Of course.
And the real diehard guys, which is most of them, it wasn't the most historically accurate movie, but what movie is? And I think me coming from my theatrical background, being an actor, I'm going, yeah, it's a movie. What do you want? But it really, but it brought a ton of people in, a ton of young fans. And in fact, it was cool. Last weekend I mentioned I took a personal day from the show, flew up to Toronto, and hung out with Baz because he debuted a new Elvis movie. He unearthed.
It's a documentary, right?
Yeah, it's like a concert doc. He doesn't call it that. He calls it a tone poem, I believe. But he unearthed all this unseen Elvis footage. Elvis filmed 2 documentaries in 70 and 72. Found all this new footage, spliced it together in the Baz editing style, and it was crazy. And we got to sit there in the Princess of Wales Theatre in Toronto, which was also fun because, fun fact, that was the first theatre I played the Phantom in.
Oh, no way.
So I got to sit in here and watch this Elvis thing.
This was I saw you posted this, so I was going to ask about this anyway. This was at TIFF. I mean, this was huge, one of the biggest film festivals in the world. I mean, a bunch of new TV shows and movies are premiering there. It
was great, and the response was great. I think I heard they have some offers to distribute. So
cool.
Yeah, really cool.
Wow.
It's just fun. I mean, I'm so proud to be in that fold. And it's, again, it's a funny thing. You can kind of smirk and be like, Elvis impersonator. And you're going, man, let me tell you, I got some stories.
Right, right. And then, and this would be one of the last things I ask is having won that Ultimate Elvis Tribute Artist in 2021, you still carry that, right? In the sense that no matter who wins, you don't win again, right?
It's, I call it, and the marketing department at Graceland does not love this, but I call it Miss America with sideburns. You get a winner every year.
Right.
We wear just as much eyeliner as those lovely gals.
Sure.
And so then you're kind of put on this pedestal. You get to carry the torch for a year. They send you around the world to perform and and market, and you represent the brand. In fact, part of the contest to become the ultimate is an interview portion, so they can make sure you're coherent and eloquent. and then the next year you hand over the title to the next guy, and you kind of just become like a legacy Elvi.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's so
it's
cool.
a really good gig.
Yeah,
and,
congrats to you. That's awesome
you.
because and for what it's worth, you put in the work. It wasn't like this thing that you had, stumbled upon. You sound like him, you look like him. It's really accurate.
Yeah, it snowballed into getting out of hand, and then I'm an absolute nut job. So I was like, well, I guess we're just gonna go with it. Okay.
Right.
The checks are clearing. We're going.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
With us. But,
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely that perspective coming from an acting, looking at Austin Butler's performance, you definitely look at it differently because, like you said, that's kind of how you looked at Elvis in the first place as a character.
1,000%.
Yeah. But to Austin Butler's job was looking at Elvis much more as a person than the person on stage. That was a part of it, but most of the movie wasn't performances, which most of what you're doing doesn't necessarily have to do much with his personal life.
Correct.
It has to do more with his stage life.
And even Elvis himself said the man and the image are two separate things.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
Austin keyed in on that. He was so good. It was great to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
And Baz is like, going back to Leonardo DiCaprio and Romeo and Juliet and Moulin Rouge and all that stuff. It's like, that's what I said to him at the party. We were at the after party, the Sony after party after the filming and everything, and chatting with Baz. It's great. And I go, can you call Alex Timbers and just get me into Moulin Rouge, please?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you'd be great in the Duke part.
You're right. You're right.
That's awesome. That's fun. Okay, let's talk Les Mis.
Yeah.
You're Jean Valjean in Les Mis, the national tour.
2460 Dunn, they call me.
Well, it's funny.
I'm fairly convinced I got hired specifically so they could use that hashtag on social media. 2460 Dunn.
2460 Dunn. Talk to me about how you booked this.
I was doing the Phantom tour at the time. The Brilliant original was in New York, and the road show was called The Spectacular New.
Oh.
It was very cool. I was a Phantom cover.
I didn't realize that Phantom preceded it. Les Mis. I thought you did Les Mis first.
No, Phantom preceded it.
Okay, gotcha.
And so Cameron McIntosh, same director, same producers.
Wow. Yeah.
And I remember anytime I had the chance to go on as Phantom or rehearse on deck as Phantom, mic'd up and everything, I was showing my shit. I went full out. And not necessarily to like get another gig. That wasn't my intention. My intention was like to just do what I could when I could, as good as I could possibly do it.
Right.
Then I hear, in the Cameron McIntosh world, in the little bubble, which is a lovely bubble to be in, an employed bubble. I hear they're looking for a Valjean, and I'm of the two notions, like, if you want me, you know where to find me, but then also you got to make sure you put yourself out there, right?
Yeah, of course.
Make sure they know where you are.
Right.
And I had heard they went through an entire round of auditions, which is quite grueling if you're gonna book a Cameron show in a principal role.
Mm-hmm.
Phantom Big Three, that includes Raoul and Christine, or Valjean Javert. A lot of hoops to jump through. Understandably so.
Yeah.
And they didn't find anyone. Went through an entire casting process, and then you make a tape in a studio with the casting team here in New York. That gets sent to Cameron.
Wow.
And Cameron gets final approval for these major roles.
Yeah.
So it's not like he knew me personally or anything else, but Cameron and I've heard that sometimes he watches these tapes and he goes, nope. And considering these shows have been around for decades, he must know what he's doing.
Right.
So second round, the casting net becomes wider.
Yeah. I
do send an email to one of the head producers of Phantom, who knows me and knows my work. He said, hey, I'd love to kind of be seen for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, you were on our list. Well, not the first list, by the way, the second list when they couldn't find anyone.
Right.
So great. So, learned the material, went in. I had 2 or 3 callbacks. I was in the room. They sent me Bring Him Home, of course.
Yeah.
Valjean's Soliloquy, which is at the top of the show. And Confrontation. And one more. Who Am I, of course.
Okay.
So I'm in the room. This is not your 16 bars, you're in and out of the audition room in 35 seconds. I was in there for 40 minutes or so. And I know that because when I audition kids, I put my phone on,
and you
record it and put it in my back pocket.
Yeah.
And we had some good runs. I went into the studio, made the tape. They sent it to Cameron. Cameron had notes. So came back, casting was then okay, and change your shirt. He doesn't like that color, this, that, and the other thing. And I'm going, great, whatever you got to tell me to get this gig. And
That's funny.
and booked it while I was in Phantom, and that was closing. They were winding down that tour. It was out for 7 years, and
wow,
and made the jump to Les Mis.
What a crazy! I mean, like who was casting at the time? Was it Tara Rubin?
Tara Rubin.
It was Tara Rubin.
Yep,
It was
yep.
Mary.
Yep. It was Mary Sugarman.
Yeah, Mary's coming on Monday.
Hey.
But yeah, Mary was in Les Mis. She was in the tour.
Mm-hmm.
But that's crazy, and I mean, I guess it makes sense that it would be that extensive of a process to find.
It was a lot. It was, and there were so many.
I mean, was Phantom as extensive of a process?
No, because I was doing Waitress at that time, and
Okay.
I wasn't really happy doing that show. And called my agent, and was like, "What can we do here?" And, Phantom had an audition just for a replacement. I mean, the whole story was I'm doing Waitress with Jim Hogan, who's a great friend. We're sitting backstage in the gondola. He came from the Phantom tour, which I was like, "You're crazy. That's like my dream show. What do you mean to do Waitress?" But he sings pop and incredibly well.
Right.
And he sits next to me and he goes, "Hey, my buddy just put in his resignation on. He's a Phantom cover. He looks like you. He sounds like you. You could be brothers." Called my agent, said, "Hey, get me in for this." Got me in. Same day, I flew in. Had an initial callback. They said, just hang around the neighborhood. Went to have lunch. Call back. Went back in. Sang again. Screwed up the words to Music of the Night. And they said, "If you get the job, you'll learn them, right?" And I went, "Yeah." They said,
No, actually, no,
they
I'm
said
not
hang.
gonna-
Yeah, they said hang around the neighborhood a little more. I went to have, another drink somewhere. Had a dance callback same day, which was just like Masquerade, which was great. Again, you don't want me dancing. Some ballroom stuff. And then the next morning they called and said, "Got the gig."
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That was also Tara Rubin, right?
Yeah.
And they're still, because Peter does it.
That little Cameron bubble is pretty great.
Tara, that's awesome. That's so cool. So with Les Mis, right? I mean, Phantom 2, these shows are so specific. They're so iconic. They're iconic vocally and also just in terms of style. They almost are their own style. They are their own style of musical theater. What are you thinking about in terms of, because it's hard not to make this, to making melodrama real, rooting it in some sort of reality so that it doesn't come off like it's a parody of some sort, because they've been parodied all the time.
Yeah. My thing when I'm approaching those roles, like Phantom or Valjean, certainly, it's been done so many times. And it's been done really, really well so many times. Yeah. I looked at myself. I'm not that smart or talented. So I'm like, I'm not going in to reinvent the wheel. You know what I mean? I'm not looking at Colm Wilkinson or Michael Crawford and going like, how can I be better? Or whoever did it, in the subsequent years. And so same thing with Phantom, same thing with Valjean. I did all of that research. The only thing I didn't do for Les Mis is actually watch the movie. And just cherry picked stuff that I liked from each of those guys. Everything from Ramin Karimloo to all the way down to Colm. For Phantom, same thing. Michael Crawford, Kevin Gray. I listened to all those guys. Anything I get my hand on, and then I would steal 16 bars from there. I would take 32 bars from there. I would take, and then kind of make this conglomeration of my own, what I thought were good choices. Right. So it lived in that universe. And again, like I do know guys who would approach it completely differently and come up with their own thing. And I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if people saw that, or like I wonder if I were to be watching it and be like, well, that felt completely different, even though you're pulling from all these people to where
it wouldn't necessarily be that my goal for someone to think that'd be nice. But there were, one of my proudest was the tell at the end of Who Am I? 24601, and Colm Wilkinson, has this Colm cry, like this, good crack in his voice, and so every time, and our resident director would be like, you can't do that. Like, it's too obvious. Like, the diehard Les Misers are going to know. And every show I go, 24601. And you're like, you can't do that every show. I got the archival. I'll show it to you.
That's so funny.
I said, no, I'll take every note you give me except that.
You know that, and this happens with a lot of these shows that have these big fan bases, and you could go for a chorus line or like things like where people watch him. He has essences of Michael Crawford.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? He's a little bit like Ramin, right? Yeah. Well, when he did that part, it reminded me of, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
It was fun too. And just outside the stage door, Mamma Mia the other day, I like going into the show, I had a guy stop me and had Les Mis posters, playbills, and all that I guess I didn't sign at that stage show or whatever.
Oh,
and
sure.
I'm signing these things, so it's a super fun legacy to be part of.
Is there anything you're thinking about while on tour with these big shows, when you're constantly bouncing back and forth from all these different cities, in terms of just sheer health stuff, physical health, vocal health, tips, tricks, things that you did to sustain that kind of
Man, you're gonna hate this answer.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
I mean, yes and no, but I like to think of myself as a tough cat. I don't really call out. Okay, we talked about vocal technique and those sorts of things earlier, but yeah, there's always an element of designing your day around that role. Do you know what I mean? What time you're going to eat, how much sleep are you going to get, nap, those sorts of things. But I'm not the guy on tour who has the the
steamer,
humidifier on the plane, the humidifier. Yeah. I'm not, no hate on those people. Everyone's got to do what they got to do, but I was never that guy. I'm the guy on the plane going, "Can I have another gin and tonic, please?" That was a high compliment we got. Preston Truman Boyd, who's my Javert, it's insanely talented cat.
Yeah, he's great.
We were fun because we joined the show together. We rehearsed together. We didn't know each other. We had even been to like mutual friends' weddings. I remember you from that wedding. And we had a great rapport. And we would hang with the cast, and that was like one of the highest compliments we got. Where, a chorus member came up to me and was like, "Oh, like it can be done." Like, you can go out and maybe have a little bit of a party and then still do the show the next day. And I was funny. Like, yeah, it can.
Well, because it's also like, especially Valjean, and I'm watching you and I'm thinking to myself, oh, this must be so fatiguing. You know what I mean? Between just by the time you get to the end of this show, you've done so much.
Yeah.
The
whole show is a journey. It's long.
Well, you went from doing Phantom, one of the hardest vocal tracks like ever, to doing one of the hardest vocal tracks.
Yeah. Well, I was a Phantom cover, so like that was cool because I didn't, I didn't have to. When I was on, I could go like full out. I didn't have to think about the next show like I did for Valjean. So there was a matter of pacing to be calculated, which I had done, and also the acceptance from me that was like, every show is not going to be a 10. You know what I mean? You're gonna have a 7.5 here. You're gonna maybe an 8.2, and that's okay because you got to keep it up. So I always did keep that in mind.
Right.
But by the end of the show, it was great. That was one of the other bigger notes I would get was, at the end, Valjean's an old man. He's singing "Bring Me Home," like saying, all right, God, like, let's go, buddy. And Cosette comes out, papa, and I would be like just a blubbering mess. My kid was 6 months old at the time or something, so I had this paternal thing, which probably helped in my audition. Right. And I used to just sob to the point where they'd be like, "Can you, like, we can't understand what you're saying. We appreciate your pathos, but like maybe keep it together a bit." And that was a full byproduct of how difficult the show was.
I remember going to see, we talked about this recently on the podcast, but I remember going to see Evan Hansen. It was one of our first like really getting into Broadway shows. That wasn't like Aladdin or something, and seeing him go through that and be like, "Wow, that guy's doing that how many times a week?" Yeah. Right, not even vocally, just emotionally, to be going through that is no joke, and then to be doing it, oh my God, Elena's is so much longer than like any other show.
Well, that was, a good dressing room shower beer. That was usually I'd
it's such a rock star.
I'd have my shower at the end, and I'd have my beer in the shower. I had this little mini fridge, which is in the Mamma Mia dressing room, and so that helped. That was a good unwinding. But
so you talked about Valjean's objective being redemption, and I guess talk to me about how throughout the show it's something that, like, I don't know, I guess I've just never analyzed it. I've watched it a lot, but I've never like thought about his arc as much. And talk to me about how you're navigating that objective, and as an actor, if you're keeping it, if that's something that you're thinking a lot, or if that's something that you worked on and then put away.
It would be something that I worked on and put away, for sure. And there were like marks I would want to hit in the show, emotionally and physically, to be like, okay, now we're almost halfway home, sort of thing as well. Yeah. And the show it's constructed so well. It's kind of served up to you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it kind of circles back to like me just trying to get out of the way of the thing, like meet the moment, meet the emotion, intensity, vocal prowess, but like get out of the way. It's going to do most of the work for you if you don't screw it up, like a piece like that. Right. But I mean, everything from the beginning in the prologue into Valjean's soliloquy, like Shot out the gate. I think I was on stage for like 18 minutes or so. They would hide little sips of water around the stage for me. And then, boom, once we got that, another story must begin. Shoo, great. Quick change into, factory head, factory owner.
Yeah.
Great, we got that. And slowly but surely, and the introduction of the kids and the Thénardiers and through the barricade scenes, which was always super high stakes, right? All the way until he dies. Yeah, it's just... It was. I always felt like it was there, and I trusted the material. Mm-hmm. Which, if you want to talk to like the actor's actor, they might disagree with that, or maybe not even like the notion because they want to find their own path. And like I said, like the show's been around for so long, it's so popular, it's so good. Get out of the way.
Right,
just
right,
do it
right,
justice.
Right, yeah, and it is a monster show, and just in terms of
it's a monster
spectacle. And all
it was so
stuff.
fun. It was. I mean, and like the group was cool. We had our lighter moments, on the barricade. I'm the one shooting the gun, but I'm going, where are we going after the show?
Yeah, right.
And then sit down and go,
you have to.
On high.
Yeah, right. You have to. You have to.
Things like that.
We would think about that with a lot of film actors that come to Broadway, where we're thinking, especially the very serious ones, where it's like, how can you be able to transfer that on film? Obviously, the pacings from are different.
Yeah.
You can fully get in there and fully go, okay, what part of the movie are we in? Right. Let me spend the whole day thinking about that part.
Yeah. Locking in for the 2-minute scene.
Exactly. Yeah. And then once you're doing that, you're doing the full show, and then you got to do it tomorrow.
But that's what I like. That's what I like about theater. I'm also I'm not a good actor for screen, so that's fine. But says the self tape I made this morning. But that's what I love about like theater, right? You get to start the journey and complete the journey. And then, you know what, if it was my 7.2 out of 10 show, you get another crack tomorrow. Or even that night.
Yeah. We had Randy Graff on, who's the original Fantine in Les Mis.
I saw,
she's the best. She's the best. And I want to get your take on this because these songs from Les Mis get sung at different cabarets or some people sing them on auditions or whatever. But the idea of leaning into avoiding the self-pity party of the empty chairs, the bring 'em home, I dreamed a dream, these navigating that, avoiding self-pity, but also similar to what I asked earlier about the melodrama and keeping it grounded.
Nobody wants to watch self-pity on stage, or if they do, maybe they have their own issues, or you have to keep it brief.
Sure.
What I focused on to avoid that, I was really into the punctuation, actually. Specifically, like Bring Him Home is a good example. It's like we said, it's been done incredibly well.
Yeah.
But I needed maybe a bit of a fresh take, and I'm going, okay, he's not. You can sit there and wallow in self-pity while you sing Bring Him Home, but I would think you're missing the point because this is not a question. He's not asking, bring him home? There's a period. He's saying, bring him home. My guy. I did everything you've wanted me to do since I turned my life around, did A, B, C, D, like not asking you anymore, like telling you. So there was,
Oh, that's interesting.
There was that element of, to avoid the self-pity, to be like, here we are, and there's certain moments of the show, and that would be a really large one, where, lock in and don't self-pity.
Yeah.
Well, she made me look at the music differently. After she said that, listening to Les Mis or rewatching that Tony performance was just fantastic. Yeah. But it made me look at the music as so. If you can find that level of intention, it starts to become so clear.
Yeah.
Once you move away the fogginess of like selfishness as an actor.
Yeah.
I mean, don't look at me. I'm a bad actor.
I've had enough of it. Because
sometimes it's just you're better to be lucky than good. Okay?
Here's what I'll say is that if to dispute these claims, go on the internet and watch his Bring Him Home on Broadway.com.
That was crazy. That was a crazy one. So they hadn't announced the cast yet. Mm-hmm. First time I met Preston, my Javert. Mm-hmm. Well, in the sense of we were working together. We had a little photo shoot. I finished Phantom, Omaha, Nebraska on a Sunday night, flew to New York Monday, didn't tell anybody I was here because if I was on tour, so if I'm in town and my friends are going to call me, what are we going to do? Probably go out and get into trouble. And I'm going, I have to be at Broadway.com at 9 a.m. I had to sing this song. They do it in one take in a small studio. Everybody is there. Pressure was high. I think I did 2 or 3 runs and they settled on hey, I was pretty happy with it, but it was a terrifying notion to be like, Hadn't even done the show.
Right.
The last time I did it was in my final callback. So I
didn't even realize
I
that.
still hadn't been directed. I'm going, okay, we're just gonna try and sing.
Instinct.
Yeah. It was crazy. It's fun to I don't rewatch it. My kid does. But to like look back on that and be like, God, I was terrified.
Well, it's terrifying. Yeah. You mentioned that you didn't watch the movie. How come?
I just don't. I'm not a movie musical guy.
Okay.
Not recently, I guess.
Sure.
And I heard it wasn't like the best.
You've never seen it?
I still have never seen it.
Oh,
I've still never seen Mamma Mia the movie. So,
Really?
yeah, I'm doing that one on Broadway 8 times a week.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
Sorry.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
All
I've
right.
seen clips of it, but I've not seen it in its entirety. I've never seen it in its
Nope.
entirety.
Yeah. Well, now I've seen clips of it. My 6-year-old is obsessed with it.
Oh, good.
But so that's kind of I've never sat down to watch it. Sorry.
That's funny. But you've seen Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. No.
Yeah. Hard no on that. Hard no. Apparently they're making a third.
That's been like the big debate of the
If
week.
someone would like to put me in it, I would consider watching.
The big news of this week is like, is it happening? Amanda Seyfried has been. I've been seeing all over my feed. Is
Well,
Mamma
I
Mia
mean,
3.
you saw the show. The audiences are crazy.
They want
would
it.
love it.
They want it.
What do you name it at that point? That's tricky.
They got to be running out of ABBA songs.
Yeah. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Times 2.
Times 2, yeah. So I want to touch on this because you mentioned being on the tour with Waitress. Were you on the first national tour after it? Whatever. First Broadway national tour.
Yeah.
Wow.
Original cast. I was down doing. What show was I doing? Oh, I was at Bristol Riverside Theater again, playing Jesus in Superstar.
Cool.
So I was commuting back from Philly for these callbacks, and I remember being like haggard, man. I had a beard. I was tired. I was, playing that role is great. Done it a few times. Don't ever want to do it again.
Sure.
And I remember going into that room prepared, but I was like grumpy cat. And Diane Paulus would be like, what would you want to do for us? And I was like, whatever you want. What do you want? I had like 80 pages of sides and songs for Palmer, for Earl, for Cal, for Ogie.
You're going in for all of them.
And I was like, what? And Sarah Bareilles was in the room. She's one of the best bosses I've ever had, period.
Really?
And then, and then they initially, I was in for Broadway for Earl. Originally played by Nick Cordero.
Correct.
And so Nick gave me some coachings. It was great. We had a lot of fun conversations. They called my agent and said, listen, we have a celebrity coming to the show. We can't use Patrick right now, but we want to use him for the tour. And I was like, well, that's a nice way to let me down. Thank you.
Sure.
And lo and behold, the star going into the show was Sarah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, cool. Not going to work opposite her. And then they ended up calling me for the tour, and I covered a bunch of those guys. Yeah.
Who was the original Jenna on the tour?
Desi Oakley.
Oh, very cool. Oh, sweet. Awesome.
Yeah, we had an okay group. I wouldn't say everyone got along incredibly well.
Okay.
And also, that was I think it might have been one of the first Sita tours.
Okay.
So there was this weird vibe that we had of there's a group in New York doing the same exact thing we're doing, who gets to go home and sleep on their own pillow. Meanwhile, we're in Des Moines. No offense, Des Moines.
Right.
And making half the money they are.
Yeah.
So it was like this, man, kind of dark cloud over that.
Sure,
It
just a
was,
little discouraging.
it was a great gig. It was a huge gig. It was, top line of my resume for a while, but that was kind of the byproduct of me wanting to get out of there. And that's how I ended up on Phantom.
How long were you on it?
6 months.
Okay. That's not bad.
Did basically the absolute minimum I could.
Sure.
I was like, I gotta go.
What was did you get to go on for Earl or?
I covered Cal,
I was gonna
Earl,
say.
and Ogie, the
Yeah.
three cats, and didn't go on once in 6
No
months.
way. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of circumstances involved. One, I told you I'm not good. But we were, we had to have all the put-ins and the rehearsals and those sorts of things. So that takes several months to get on its feet. And the guy roles in that show, very similar to Mamma Mia, are pretty easy. In terms of difficulty. So if these guys were, had a tickle in their throat or their knee hurt or something, they could still do the show.
do it.
So that was kind of it. As opposed to the three, Dunn and the Dynamos here or the waitresses in Waitress.
Right.
They would obviously miss several more. So
Sure.
that was another thing of cool, but man, hanging out in the diner booth. Here we are. We had some good games though. We used to play Pictionary and everything. So the waitresses would come over and I'd give them something to draw, and they would have to draw it on their check pad to give it to
That's
buddy Ryan,
fun.
who played Cal, and he would come up to me at intermission and go, Eiffel Tower? And I go, block of cheese, you were close, or whatever.
That's funny.
Yeah. If you ever need a good bit on stage, come to me. I'll give it to you.
Yeah. So then let's talk about the reason why you're here. Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
You're the first person we're having to talk about this Broadway season, 2025-2026 season.
Thank you.
All right. So, and Mamma Mia has already started as one of the biggest shows.
We're top 3 this
on
week.
Broadway.
It's very cool to be a part of.
I don't know. I don't know the exact number, but we should talk about this because we've had producers on the show, in the sense that like you guys are helping the entire Broadway when it comes to grosses, and in a week when the week that you guys come, the time that you guys came is historically not the best time for Broadway, and you guys are lifting them up in certain respects almost single-handedly because you're one of the few shows this season who've started.
We love that.
You
And
know.
it's very cool to be a part of.
Yeah.
Just to know that it's a cool feather in our cap, and I know everybody there is really proud of it too.
Yeah. So talk to me about booking the national tour first.
Yeah. So it came out as a tour. I'm full tilt Elvis at that point, and he pays pretty well, to be frank. So I almost have one foot out the door. And my agents, who are fantastic, Danny and Megan, I think on that year, I didn't even want to go on auditions. I was like, whatever, dude. I'm living in Toronto at the time. My family's up there. And I went on maybe 3 auditions. I was in town for a couple of days, and Mamma Mia was one. I ended up booking it. And I didn't know anything about the show. I'd never seen it. Never seen it. Didn't see the movie.
That's funny.
Don't know ABBA music. They sent me, sorry everyone. They sent me Knowing Me, Knowing You, Our Last Summer, and SOS maybe.
Yeah.
So I learned those. I learned the scene. All 3 dads, Bill, Harry, and Sam, and went in, had a great audition. I remember it being fun. I remember being mad at the rest of the guys in the room because they had their rep books, and I was so out. Like I said, I was kind of one foot out of the business. I didn't have a rep book.
Wow.
And then what am I going to put in my rep book? Like, you don't want to hear Bring 'Em Home in the audition room, right? Or Music of the Night. So I went to Staples on the corner of 34th or whatever it is, bought a binder, bought 50 sleeves, put them in, and carried it into the room without any
Just
music
so that you
in
have it.
Yeah. Had my book.
That's funny.
Sang my 3 songs, and David Holzenberg, our music supervisor, genius, he goes, "Would you like to sing anything from your book?" And I went, "No." And he went, "Okay." And I went, "Thank God."
That's hysterical.
So then they told me to hang out. It was St. Patrick's Day. I remembered that. So I went, they said, come back at 5 or whatever. So I went and had a Guinness, Irish.
Sure.
And which helps for the dance call. Like, come on, dance call. It was fun, and they were great. Janet, our choreographer, was like, understood where the dads or the dad understudies are gonna land in the dance call.
And in full disclosure, this is also Tara Rubin casting. Again.
Yeah.
Phantom,
in fact,
Liz.
that was Kevin Metzger-Timpson, who was my dance captain in Pirates of Penzance.
No way!
10 years earlier.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
He's been on our show too.
So it's a very little, tight-knit world. And he's great. Yeah, he was a great advocate, and always helps to have someone in casting, be a buddy.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so that whole journey was crazy. Then my agent called and said, you got the offer, and I said, oh man, I'll give it 6 months or whatever it was. Maybe we had to sign a year.
Yeah.
I like to tour. I like to travel, and I wanted to do one more like theater gig. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not knowing how long I was going to be with it. My life changed during the course of this show in several ways, and then of course they say, hey, did so well on the road. We're going to New York, and it was like, okay.
I mean, that's huge.
I guess you're
right?
going
because what was huge about it was one Broadway debut.
Yeah, there's
mean,
so
like,
many. There's
cool.
like 25 of us. So
I know,
just
that's incredible. Congratulations.
Everyone's just floating on cloud 9.
Yeah, congratulations on your Broadway debut.
Thank you. It's,
and then
yeah,
go for it.
Not bad since Madison Square Garden in the 90s. So it's nice to be back.
It's pretty awesome. And then secondly, the fact that they kept you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's also sometimes not necessarily the case.
we had a great group. We have a great group. And frankly, saved them a little bit of money on rehearsal time too. We were ready to go. We walked into the theater. I think we rehearsed for 4 or 5 days. We did some tech. They made some changes. Some of the creative team from England came in to work and tweak, which was a lot of fun to get with them. And then we were firing on all cylinders. We had our invited dress was insane. They invited anyone who had worked on Mamma Mia on Broadway previously.
Wow.
crazy energy, like wild.
Yeah.
And then first preview number 1, I think we grossed a lot of money on that show. Yeah. And we've been rolling ever since.
Well, what was I going to ask you? How long was it from your last stop on the tour to opening Broadway?
Like 6 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We wrapped in June.
Where at?
Denver was our last city.
Cool.
And then we were August 4th or something was our first day in or first show or something like that.
Did much change at all?
No, not really. Little things, which is almost like kind of more frustrating than like a big change that you would be like, okay, this is something I can remember. Yeah. Just little tweaks here and there. So, I was like, 3 or 4 days you'd see everybody like kind of get there because we had done the show 659 times at that point or whatever.
Wow.
Somewhere around that number. So that everybody's living in their body,
Right.
And so to get these little tweaks, which then, ended up certainly improving the show. And they were all mostly changes to facilitate now that we're not traveling all the time.
Right.
And we have this new scrim or we have this extra space.
Okay.
Wider stage. So that was kind of all. It wasn't a matter of talent or, good, bad, ugly. It was just a matter of like, okay, and maybe a little closer to the original.
Right.
I wouldn't be able to tell you if it was in the movie because I still haven't seen it.
Well, this is a silly, just like technical question because I'm not as familiar about like the goings about on tour. How are you guys adjusting spacing based on their theaters that you're in?
The one thing that doesn't change on tour, everything will change.
Yeah.
Your bed, your dressing room, your stage door.
Right.
The only thing that doesn't change is the deck.
Oh.
The floor of the stage, right?
Oh, really?
Which we traveled. So every show travels their own deck.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So it included like Waitress, same thing. Phantom, we had our own deck because those had automation, right? Mamma Mia is a bit simpler in terms of technicality, but the stone floor, the jetty, all the spike marks, everything you see between the proscenium is the same.
Oh, so then I guess they probably pick houses that are within a similar
You've got to make
scale.
sure you can fit in. Yeah,
Right.
and that was Mamma Mia's not too bad. We had what did we have? 5 trucks or so, somewhere around there. Phantom had 22. So that was like a bit more of a process. But everything down to the doors. Can we fit into the doors? Great. And then a matter of, can we get the deck in where we need to get it?
That's so interesting. I guess I've never considered that. I always wondered, it was like, well, if you know that for money, your number is 4 and you're meant to stay on that number, and then you go to Denver and you're like, am I supposed to be at 6.5 now? But I guess not at all.
The only constant on tour is your deck.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then I guess in picking the Winter Garden too, that's pretty precise as well then.
Well, I mean, she was the original home.
Yes.
The Win TG.
Yes, of course.
So that's kind of cool, like a little homecoming. We have, tech guys, the IATSE guys coming up to us going, I worked the original in 2002, and here we go again,
Yeah. Well, what about the turntables too? Was that on tour as well?
My Les Mis tour?
No, in Mamma Mia.
No
you guys have
turntables.
turntable, right?
We have our 2 walls will rotate and they
rotate.
kind of move up and down. No turntable though.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. And I was I'm blanking on his name right now. Who played Sam?
Victor Wallace?
Yes, and he was in Mamma Mia at the Broadhurst.
Victor was the last Sam.
He was the last
on
Sam.
Broadway.
Right.
Victor and I were both the Phantom understudies on the tour.
Oh, cool.
At the same time. So I used to have a bit where I would say I'm tied for the first cover. And then just the other day we went to see Masquerade Uptown, which was
cool.
crazy.
Yeah, right.
So it was fun to like kind of return to our Phantom roots. But yeah, so Victor and a lot of these people have great lore with the show. Carly, our Rosie, she's done it. She started doing it on like Royal Caribbean ships 20 years ago when she was probably too young for the role, and now she's done several iterations. Christine Sherrill, our Donna, she's brilliant. She did the run in Vegas, and she's done it regionally a couple times. So like everybody. I think I was the only one who rocked up and was like, I know nothing about this show. What are we doing here?
What was I going to ask you? Oh, I've done Mamma Mia twice in a 6-month span.
Hey.
And this was right when the licensing came out. So it was like, it was hot and heavy. Everybody decided to do it. And so I had done it twice. And what I remember about it was that every song, whether you were in the number or not, has these little like vocal parts where you're just going, take a chance, 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 take a chance.
I'm that guy. I am that guy.
Yeah, I was just wondering to speak to that because I remember when we saw it the other night, I was listening and I'm like, Oh, wow. And you guys sound fantastic. We didn't quite, because we didn't have mics per se. We're just kind of like from the back being like, take a chance, you know. But you guys have these mics, and we were sitting on like orchestra right, and so the speaker was like right next to us, and I was hearing so clearly your under attack, you know, things like that.
It's that's a byproduct of David Holzenberg, the music supervisor, who also was the original in the early 2000s.
Wow. Oh, I didn't realize that.
And now he's got so many credits. I think he's won a couple of Grammys.
Yeah.
Our music director on the road still with us at the Winter Garden, Matt Croft, and we have a new music director, Will
Van
fantastic.
Dyke, right? Yeah, he's great. He's really great.
They get on us about that, and they did for the 2 years on tour, because obviously Mamma Mia with the ABBA music it's all about the music.
Yeah.
And even still, like my track, you don't see me on stage a lot, but I'm singing almost every song. We have 4 vocal booths backstage with monitors to see the conductor. You know, there is a score there, not that any of us need it anymore.
Right.
And we're singing background vocals to all those tunes.
The question I was going to ask was that, are you off stage like at all? I mean, the scenes, right? But pretty much you're singing every song, and there's like, what, 20 something songs a moment?
Yeah. We are backstage. We're on deck.
Right in those wings.
Costumes are on deck. We're not going back to the dressing rooms.
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of a break, which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll hit it with Money Money at the top of the show, and then right from there, singing Mamma Mia background vocals. Then we're singing Dancing Queen background vocals. Then we're doing Lay All Your Love. You know, some of Team Sky's out there dancing in the flippers. I'm too old for that nonsense, but I'm back there going. Lay all your love.
Yeah, right. Or even the one that and now that you're saying you're the bass part, I'm like 100% you are the super.
Yeah, dude. No, they pay me the big bucks over there. If you know me, you know Pat Dunn, bass.
Do you guys? I was sitting in the audience going, the one question I have is that I don't understand why this show ever closed, because the energy for it feels like, and there's not an empty seat in the house, and the energy for it feels like people want to be on stage with you. And frankly, I did. I had wished I was on stage with you rather than sitting down, because I was in my seat, like, vibing. You know what I mean?
Come on, come join us.
Okay, man. I'll do that next time.
It is like it's a real vibe.
Yeah.
And it's fun to do, for me specifically, I can say, because I've done so many sad shows.
Sure.
Les Mis, everybody's crying. Phantom, everybody's crying. I'm crying. Yeah. So to do this one and be like, wait, people are having a good time. All right. Yeah. So that's infectious for us, and certainly keeps us going when we have, a double Saturday, double Sunday, those sorts of things.
Right.
But I don't know why it closed. It had a healthy run, 15 years.
Mm-hmm. That's a healthy run. And then they moved to a smaller theater. Yeah. They moved to the Broadhurst.
Yep. The lore of it is also kind of crazy too, and that came after, having been with the show now for a couple of years. I didn't know it was the first show to open after 9/11.
Yep.
So like that, talk about a time when you don't want to go see a sad show, and maybe you just want to listen to some good tunes. And some of the critics can say that the book is fluff and whatever else, but like, okay, all right,
doesn't actually,
maybe that's what we need.
Sure.
And the current climate now, it's like, hey man, Mamma Mia is like the most unifying thing in this country.
Isn't it? It's bizarre.
If you don't have a good time when you come see the show, then you really got to see it there.
It's so true though, because it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't really matter if you know ABBA music. Even you're still going like, oh yeah, I can exactly. A groove's a groove, and it's funny, and it's just fun to be there.
It's just fun. It's light. It's and
it's family friendly for the most part. You can bring your kid to see the show.
My
and
6-year-old's seen it 4 or 5 times.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, it hits all the notes that like need to be hit, especially maybe now.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get all the right notes.
Yeah, well,
take a chance.
Yeah. And I guess this is a silly question, but in terms of that reception, I'm sure you guys are feeling all that love at the stage door.
We didn't. I remember thinking, me being the skeptic, cynic, old curmudgeon that I am.
Sure.
On the road, I know because I've toured several years. Road audiences vary, city to city, show to show, and Mamma Mia pretty universally loved. Oh, we had some crowds, man. They were crazy loud, and I'm going, we could go to New York and get eaten up. The New York audiences are different. Like, who knows?
Right.
And nope, not the case.
Right.
The crowds in New York, and whoever's coming and from wherever they're coming from, with us in lockstep right from the get-go to the end.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's awesome. And for a lot of people, I'm sure that it might be their first Broadway show, because with a show like this, sometimes it just draws people in who've never been.
Yeah, and there's that familiarity of it, right? And I get that, having my intellectual property having been like, Phantom and Les Mis. So those same things with the familiarity notion and the films that have come out, Mamma Mia also. So people have seen the film, maybe never have seen a Broadway show, maybe not want to spend the money on something, unfortunately like a Dead Outlaw per se, where they,
God
it's
a little bit more of a risk.
Yes, of course. And, for maybe a family of 4 from Ohio or something, hey, we know what we're getting into, and it delivers.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, for sure. And like we said, it's carrying a huge torch from just a commercial standpoint.
Yeah, we love
on Broadway.
Very
And that is important because in a space like the Winter Garden, not every show can go into the Winter Garden. And
she's a big girl.
It's a big theater. I mean, I'm sure you guys have also played ginormous theaters on tour.
But that's the other weird thing is touring. You get spoiled because you're playing 225, 3,000 seat houses.
Yeah.
And then you come to New York and you go, right, not a lot of space.
yeah, right, of course. Yeah, like what's the backstage space? How does that vary? It's house to house.
It's pretty great, actually, the Winter Garden. I can speak
Yeah.
for that. Like, we've got some good dressing rooms, good setup, not a ton of stairs.
Yeah, right.
And then the wing space is decent as well.
Yeah.
So happy to be there.
That's awesome. I love that. And congratulations to you guys. And we're excited about the show. I have to ask this question because this is a question that everybody in New York is asking. And I don't know if you're going to be able to answer it. Mm-hmm. Are you guys, right now, you guys are slated to go through February.
Right.
Are you guys extending beyond February? You don't have to break the
gotta
news
go,
if you can't
everybody.
break it.
There's excitement around the show, and we're very excited about it.
It's like I just asked him if he's going to be in the new Avengers movie.
Well, there's so many circumstances. There's a show that's slated to come into the Winter Garden.
Of course.
Who knows what could happen with that or how it would be dealt with by the producers, etc.
Right.
What we do know is Mamma Mia is doing good numbers. And if you're a producer, you probably want to keep those numbers coming.
Yeah, and the excitement is certainly there.
Yeah.
And it's doing those numbers, like we said, during a difficult time in New York.
You're in theater. I've heard in the last 3 days, 10 different scenarios on whether or not we could extend or close in February, this, that. Literally 10 from band, from crew, from actors. It's just... and it was the same thing like when we were hearing about the potential of a Broadway transfer from the tour. Okay.
Maybe.
I've been around the biz, long enough that I try not to bother with the conjecture and guessing. Because why?
Yeah.
Half the time you're not right. And it's just you get your hopes up or you get your hopes down or whatever and go, all right. You let me know if you need me on February 2nd. I'll be available. If not, we're going to have a hell of a party on February 1st.
Yeah, right, for sure. And nothing's official till it's official. I always say when people ask me, like, oh, who's coming on the podcast? I'm like, well, I can't say until they're in the chair and we have the camera rolling.
Right, yeah.
Nothing's official till it's official.
Got a lot of things to follow.
But either way, we're excited about it. A lot of people in New York are excited about it and beyond. So go see Mamma Mia, as of right now, running to February at the Winter Garden Theater.
Yeah.
We have a fun little game we want to play with you. And
boy.
it is, I want to give you... we're going to do 2 separate ones, right? So we have what we do, a musical theater for dummies game.
Oh, okay.
And
good.
We're going to ask
I would
you
be
to
the dummy.
give me 5 musicals.
Okay.
That if I've never seen a musical, I've never, give me 5 musicals that I must see, I must know. And it's not, sometimes I guess this can be interpreted as like a pretentious thing, like you have to know this. But it's not that, it's your answer, whatever you want, 5 musicals, you're like, hey, this is what I think you should get.
5 musicals. To complete newbie, huh?
Yeah.
I think you'd have to throw Phantom in there. It's the longest running Broadway show.
Show.
Another really good staple, like a Chicago maybe.
Man,
if we're gonna get into the historic nature of She Loves Me, I think would be the best constructed musical. She Loves Me is so good.
God, I love She Loves Me. She Loves Me.
What was that? 3?
That was 3.
I need 2 more.
Yeah, 2 more.
Maybe a Superstar, like Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah, sure.
Because that's, rock and different genres. Apparently I'm an Andrew Lloyd Webber guy, which is probably true. And then 5th, obviously, it's Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia!
You were going to get me on that one. Come on.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Margaret, you wouldn't like that. And then we're going to double down on this musical theater for dummies because we have an Elvis expert in the room.
That's true.
We want to do Elvis for Dummies. I want you to give me 5 either notable performances or just songs of Elvis's that if I'm, new to Elvis, whether it's from this country, outside this country, to
notable Elvis performances. This is easy. Come on. You got to start with my favorite's 1973, Aloha from Hawaii. Wears the American Eagle jumpsuit. Incredible vocal performance where he sings. 1968 comeback special where he wears all black leather.
Okay, cool.
Really cool section of that performance called the Sit Down Special, which actually inspired the 1990s series Unplugged on MTV.
I was gonna say the Sit Down Special is super famous. Didn't Blake Shelton just do that version of?
Yeah,
that?
He
was
did.
Like
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Aloha from Hawaii. What? That sounds so familiar. I'm going to Hawaii in a couple weeks, so I'm looking into all this Hawaii stuff. But Aloha from Hawaii, was that? There's like one song that I'm like thinking of that he did there that I definitely have seen. Anyway.
I mean, there's so many in that concert.
Yeah, for sure.
The 2 documentaries are really cool. My favorite would be, it's called That's the Way It Is, which is a large part of the new Baz Luhrmann documentary that he put together. But that's him rehearsing for his one of his Vegas runs at the International Hotel, which is really good. There's an On Tour documentary that he does. It's called Elvis on Tour.
Oh, cool.
Also very cool.
Nice.
And there's probably his last performance, which was filmed in 1977. He's wearing what we call the sundial suit. He's a bit bigger of a boy at that time, but if you close your eyes, his vocals are still absolutely
classic. That one's classic. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. I'll take it. We also do a tradition on I Want to Be Like You, and it is manifesting a dream guest. We want you to manifest someone for us to be sitting in this chair, and it could be, anyone. We've gotten the likes of Carol Burnett to Debbie Allen and Jonathan Groff. And
sure. I've been thinking about this because obviously I listened to a couple episodes.
Thank you.
I knew this was one of the 2 questions that I would get. I think for me, it would be, he's a buddy of mine. Doug Lyons is his name.
Oh, yeah,
you know Doug?
Yeah.
We went to school together. Everybody knew he was going to be an absolute star, and now he's
awesome.
writing and producing and providing for actors and people of color. And I love his takes on Instagram. I think, and his takes on the business, I think, are really smart, really forward, really progressive.
Nice.
And he's been on all sides of the table. He's been the actor, he's been the writer, and we're not incredibly close anymore. We maybe say hi on social media here and there if we bump into each other.
You said he's a producer now.
He's a writer now.
I totally know that.
He wrote Chicken and Biscuits, I think.
Okay, that's
that was at Circle.
Norm Lewis was in that.
Yep, and he's got a ton of. He wrote episodes of Fraggle Rock, man.
Oh, cool! Very cool. That's awesome.
But I do love his takes on the industry and the business. And,
very cool. We'll take it.
Yeah,
I love
Doug,
it.
you should come on, Doug.
All right, Doug.
Because I would listen to the Doug Lyons episode.
Okay, cool.
I want to be like Doug Lyons.
Oh, sweet. I'll take it. So we end the podcast with the same question every time, and we started by asking you who was your I want to be like you when you were a kid, and we want to ask you who's your I want to be like you now. It could be anyone. It could be someone in your life. It could be
Elvis. No. Who do I want to be like? I want to be like a happy, employed, healthy actor.
Hey, I'll take that. I'll take that. That is what I want to be too. That's awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for doing this. Congratulations to Mamma Mia. Go see Mamma Mia. I want to be like Patrick Dunn. Woo-hoo. Yeah. I Want to Be Like You with Elbi Cespedes is produced by Elbi and Kirsten Cespedes. Special thanks to Angelina Cespedes, Francesca Sacamano, Michelle Faribault, Faith Masiolik, and of course, Patrick Dunn.